Representative Villio, do you want to? No, you need to get back to committee.
Absolutely.
You want to jump up here? All right. House Bill 265.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, good morning. House Bill 265 is what I refer to as enhanced victim notification relative to parole hearings. And what it simply does is allows for a victim who has opted in to receive notice by electronic communications, either text or email, which currently it's not provided for in statute. So parole is relegated to essentially snail mail and sometimes phone calls. And so that's what this bill does, is provides that enhanced ability to have immediate contact with the victim.
And we know we've had an issue or two here lately with that, and so
Absolutely.
this is a needed item for the comfort of some of those victims out there before an individual shows back up in the community. I know Representative Miller has one who's we had an issue in our district.
Yes, sir.
Where an individual showed back up in the community unbeknownst to the victims and caused quite a stir, especially since he was let out
Early.
prematurely.
And prematurely, yes.
yeah, so-
Erroneously, as I understand.
He was, that's correct.
Yes, sir. And
so-
that's what this bill hopes to aim to prevent, to give those victims notices
I think it's
far in
60 days
advance.
or 90 days. I'm sorry.
60 days.
60 days.
Yes, sir.
With Senator Talbot.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to make a motion to move report favorable when appropriate time.
Okay. Well, we have a few cards. First, I'm going to, in the spirit of our finance chairman and now our revenue and fiscal affairs chairman, I'm going to have our vice chairman read all the cards into the record. No? You don't?
Too many calls.
Too many cards.
That was worth a shot, huh, Senator Reese?
One, two.
We have a number of cards in support, and some actually wishing to speak. And I apologize, we're making a little light of it, but it's not a light issue here. But we have Francis Albert, Executive Director, Louisiana Board of Parole and Probation, who is here to provide information if requested. We do have a motion on the table with no red cards and no questions here, but we have Brandy Melissa, who is present and would like to speak. Come on up, Brandy. We have Katie Hunter Lowry, who is present and would like to speak. Katie, would you like to come on up? Meg Gravy? She waves. Okay, was present and would like to speak. Gary Bennett with the Sheriff's Association, who is present, would not like to speak. Mike Renatza, Sheriff's Association, president, would not like to speak. And Lauren Lampant with the DA's Association, is present, but not like to speak. Thank you, Mona.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Chairman Smith, Vice Chairman Bowie, and fellow Louisiana citizens. I support HB 265 because as of right now, victim notifications about anything regarding offenders comes through the United States Postal Service and has to be signed for, whether it be notices about parole hearings, notices about inmates being moved from Rayburn to Rayburn from Angola, as a few child sex abusers have in the last few years, or anything else that crime victims are supposed to be notified about. In December 2018, DOC sent my deceased mom a notice about a parole hearing in March of 2019 for a child molester who violated at least 7 known boys in Louisiana alone. Though he was only convicted of 5 so far, he was charged with 49 counts, only pled to 5, and in my humble opinion, should never breathe air outside of a penal institution again. Being that he was eligible for a quote-unquote good behavior time at conviction, a unanimous denial of parole in March of 2019 had no impact on his early release date on April 6th that was blocked after media pressure on the powers that be. His crime victim notices were mailed from Rayburn on March 23rd. Mine was in my mailbox on April 1st. His release would have been 5 days later. Provisions in this bill would open other avenues of notification and not leave it to just utilize the snail speed postal service. If this bill were currently law, everyone would have known about what Rayburn was ready to do April 6th, being that we could have been notified as soon, if not shortly after, the child molester being released early due to quote-unquote good behavior time, got a residence plan approved on January 31st. His sentence completion is 2038. We instead had to wait on procrastinating officials tasked with mailing notices out to do so, and some notices for Todd Michael Duquette have to be sent to other states, so victims likely didn't find out in a timely manner about Rayburn's transplant from Angola, who DOC has called a model inmate walking free, and I assure you, no one in records or even Rayburn Day has bothered to notify us that his release was blocked 2 days before it was scheduled to happen. This is completely unacceptable, and this offender is not the only one with victims that are enduring the nightmare that is Louisiana's current victim notification system. Please, on behalf of all current and future crime victims and their loved ones in Louisiana, pass HB 265. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Katie Hunter Lowry. I coordinate the Louisiana Survivors for Reform Coalition. We're a group of crime survivors and homicide victims' loved ones working on change in the criminal justice system. We support this bill and the e-notification that brings us into the 21st century. What I hear from victims, families, and survivors across the state, the things that they want most and absolutely need more of is clear communication and resources. And so this bill does get to the heart of providing more clear communication. We would love to see in the future legislation that allowed for and required more communication around other programming available to survivors through DOC. If we're waiting to notify victims to the point where it's only 60 days until someone is released, there's all of this work and healing that could be happening prior to the release of the person who harmed them, like the victim offender dialogue, like the accountability letter bank. And most survivors don't know about these programs, and they don't know that these avenues are available to give them the support they need to move through what they've experienced. So we really appreciate this bill and hope to see more legislation like this from this body in the future.
Thank you, and I know you're watching Representative Miller's bill as well, which it's not a companion, but it does work together with this bill to
Yes.
hopefully enhance and do a better job of these notifications. So thank you both for being here and for your testimony. Representative Villio, there's a motion on the floor by Senator Talbot that we report House Bill 265 favorable. You have anything further?
I waive closing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members? Any objection? Hearing none, that will be reported favorable.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman, members.